Okay guys, so today we are going to simplify fractions first and then convert mixed numbers to improper fractions and then improper fractions back to mixed numbers. You had this last year, but you didn't do very much of it because I think this is what you were covering when we had to go and do virtual learning. So we're gonna hit it a little bit harder this year. It's very important that you understand how to simplify fractions. So our first fraction is 8/10. That is a proper fraction, and we must always simplify a fraction down to its simplest form. So 8/10, what we want to do is we want to think about factors that both 8 and 10 have. I know they both share a common factor of 2. Anytime, let me give you a hint, anytime the top and the bottom are both even, they will always share a factor of 2. I also gave you this sheet, this factor sheet, on the other opposite side of the multiplication table. And another way you can look at that is find 8 right here and 10. And the only number they have in common besides 1, because dividing by 1 will not help us, is 2. So that would be their greatest common factor. So we take 8 and we divide it by 2. And we also take 10 and divide it by 2. And we get 4/5. So that is in simplified form. Okay? You have to divide the top and the bottom by the same factor. So on the second one, we have 36/48. Notice they're both even numbers, so we can divide them both by 2. But if I do, I'm going to show you what I do. Happens. 36 divided by 2 would be 18, and 48 divided by 2 would be 24. They're still even. We would have to simplify it again. We could divide by 2 then, we could divide by 3, we could divide by 6, okay? But we have to keep dividing down until we get to the simplest form. The easiest thing to do, especially since I've given you this factor sheet, is to find 36 and 48. Those are all the common factors, or all their factors, and find the greatest common one. So 36 is here, but it's not here. 18 is here, it's not here. 12 is here, and it is a factor of 48 also. So that's their greatest common factor. So if we use that and divide the top and the bottom by 12, we only have to divide one time, because 36 divided by 12 is 3, and 48 divided by 12 is 4, so we get 3/4. Now here, if you would have divided by 2, you would have gotten 9/12. Divide by, you can't divide by 2, but you can divide these both by 3, and we would get 3/4 that way. Okay, so you can always do this. It's just one step if you divide by the greatest common factor. I don't care which way you do it, but you always have to simplify down all the way. Okay, I'm going to come down here and do number 3. We have 27/63. I know a common factor is 3, because 3 is a factor of 27. 3 times 9 is 27, and 3 times 21 is 63. However, I believe there's a larger common factor. So if we look over here at 27, what was it, and 63, it looks like their greatest common factor is 9. So if I only want to divide one time, so 27 divided by 9 is 3, 63 divided by 9 is 7, so we get 3/7. If I would have divided by 3 the first time, I would have gotten 9/21, and then I would have to recognize that they both have a common factor of 3 and divide by 3 again to get 3/7 that way. Okay, number 4, 15/30. You might notice that 15 is half of 30, so that's going to simplify to a half. You might also know that if number ends in a 5 and a 0, you can always divide by 5. So either way, we're going, when you look at your purple sheet, they have a greatest common factor of 15. 15 divided by 15 is 1, and 30 divided by 15 is 2, so we get 1/2. Okay, down here we have improper fractions. Improper fractions mean they're top heavy. The top is bigger than the bottom, and that also means that they are greater than 1. Okay, proper fractions are less than 1. Here, if you have half a pizza, you've eaten 1 out of the 2 slices. Here, you've eaten 3 out of the 4 slices. So you've eaten less than 1 whole pizza on both of those. Here, 12/6 means it's going to be greater than 1. In order to change an improper fraction to a mixed number, we divide. 12 divided by 6, like this. And we get 2 with no remainder, so our answer is just 2. 12/6 is 2 wholes. Here, if I divide 15 divided by 4, 4 will go into 15 3 whole times. 4 times 3 is 12, so that 13, 14, 15, that leaves me with 3 as a remainder out of 4, 3 3/4. Some students like to write it out, 15 divided by 4. 4 goes into 15 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. Subtract, I get 3. So what we do is we start at the top. That's our whole number. We got 3 wholes out of that. I have a remainder of 3 out of 4. So 3 3/4. Here, 11/3. 3 will go into 11 3 whole times. 4 is too much because 4 times 3 is 12. So 3 times 3 is 9. That leaves me with 2 remaining out of the 3. So 11/3 is equivalent to 3 2/3. 12/4. 12 divided by 4 is 3 with no remainder, so that is 3 wholes.
Peyton Luttrell, Maya Smith, Skylar
And 10
Richards.
halves, 10 divided by 2 is 5.
Maya Smith,
So I have 5 wholes. Another way of thinking of it is okay, this picture shows you I have 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 halves, 6 halves, 7 halves, 8 halves, 9 halves, or 10 halves. So that's one way of seeing it, 10 halves. Or I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole. All right, then on the back, this time we're going to go from our mixed numbers back to improper fraction. So we were changing here, we were changing improper back to mixed or whole numbers. And now we're going to go from mixed back to improper fractions. It says we're going to use that when we are multiplying and dividing fractions, which we will get to later this week. All right, so if we have the fraction 4 1/3, I think it's easier to see this way. In order to change that back to an improper fraction, we're going to start with our denominator and multiply it by our whole number. So 3 times 4 is 12, and add it to our numerator. So 12 plus 1 is 13/3. Okay, I'll show you what that looks like. If I have, I'm going to pretend those are divided equally into thirds. Okay, I have 4 whole, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more. So that's 4 1/3. Or I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13/3. Okay, over here, 2 5, 6. We'll take that. 6 times 2 is 12, plus our 5 is 17, 6. Okay, down here, 10 5/9. 9 times 10 is 90. Plus 5 would be 95/9. Here we have 6 2/3. Oops, sorry. All right, 3 times 6 is 18, plus 2 is 20/3. And 1 5/8. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 5 is 13/8.
Okay, at this time, students.